This is a rune that I love to work with, and I very much associate this rune with Vidar and with the root chakra. So Vidar is Odin's son, and he is the deity or the god that avenges his father at Ragnarok by killing the great wolf Fenrir. Now, I don't see anything evil about Fenrir or about Loki or about hell. I don't see evil and good in the Norse mythology at all. I think that Ragnarok is the ending of a cycle and that it needed to happen, and that Fenrir is a part of the change that needed to happen. And so, Vidar, if we personalize it, yes, he avenges his father, but he also sort of clears the board, if you like, and allows a new start. And I very much see Vidar as then stepping into Odin's place and becoming the new All Father. There is a sense that Vidar was born for this purpose, that he was born to seed the next generation of gods. And in a way, that's what our children do. That's, those of us that have children, they are born to outlive us, we hope, to outlast, and to start new lives apart from us. So if I share some thoughts, some reflections on my connections with Vidar, for me, and this is a weird thing about Norse mythology, despite being sort of one of the younger generations of gods, this idea that he is born to avenge his father and to live and rule after Ragnarok, there is also a sense of something primal, original, old. I feel that Vidar is deeply rooted, and he's very much associated with aurochs, these sort of buffalo type animals that used to sort of roam around Europe. So there is an idea here of big energy, of old, of primal. He's linked to grasslands and old forests. Even though he is new, he is old. And there's often this duality in Norse mythology. There's not a lot of black and white in Norse mythology. Everything has nuances. I definitely, and this comes from my personal tradition of staff, I associate Vidar with energy healing. I would use the word Megan, you might use the word chi or prana or energy, but if you are doing any form of hands-on healing or energy healing, to me what we're doing is we are really pulling, or when I do it anyway, I am pulling usually the earth energy up through my feet and then out through my hands, so that I am channeling that earth energy to boost somebody else's energy or Megan, or to bring them healing. Sometimes I bring it down through the crown, but to be honest, I almost always pull it up from the earth. So to me, Vidar is very much associated with that groundedness and how we can be energized when we're grounded. If you're feeling low in energy, yes, you can grab a coffee. But another thing to do is to stand outside in bare feet if you can, or to go for a walk in nature, to get away from the four walls of your house or your flat, to get away from your computer and to ground yourself in nature. It is one of the most powerful ways to reset our mind and to re-energize ourselves. And to me, that's very much a Vidar energy. One of the things that I was taught to do was to make the shapes of the runes with my body, to experience how a rune feels and to experience how the energy changes when I make the shape of the rune. And if we look at Vidar here, he's a really easy energy a really easy shape to make. Here we have from our legs up to our waist, nice and straight. And then we have our torso coming down here. And then we have our head and our arms hanging down here. Now, I've never run a marathon, I'm going to be really honest, but when I see people running races, and if they've run a long race or a hard race, or if I see my kids racing each other, this is a position of rest. And in fact, when I was pregnant and, the baby was pushing on the lungs and the inner organs, I would often sort of lean on something, because this allows the lungs to really work in a powerful way. So this is a natural position that we may well adopt when we're exhausted. So just get that energy in, get that breathing in. It's a really powerful position. There's a connection with Vidar, with byproducts and waste. In his rune poems, we've got this idea of dross is from bad iron. It's all about the sort of the byproducts. And he's known to have one large boot, which is the boot that he pulls open the mouth of Fenrir with. And there's some sort of stories that maybe he collects offcuts of leather or something to build this big shoe. But for me, because I always try and translate the mythology and the understanding into modern day life. And, you know, because that it's meant to make a difference in our life now. And when I think about that, and I think about carefully gathering the offcuts and crafting that powerful boot that he knew that he would need one day, it's about biding our time. It's about gathering what we need. It's about preparation. And for me, Vidar is all about stepping back, being grounded, waiting. He's about gathering those resources. He is about vengeance, but it's not hot, blustery, angry vengeance that I might think about Thor, you know, just sort of like, oh, I'm going to do it. With Vidar, there is a cold, balanced, calculated rebalancing. He takes the time to get it right, and he waits until the time is right. I very much associate Vidar with strength, with initiation rites, and with facing personal trials, needing to sort of face things that are difficult, to take our time, to prepare how we're going to do it. Thor is much more of a, right, I'm going to dive right in here, and I'm going to work it out as I go. Loki or Kraft is much more of a, I'm just gonna push everything off the table, and I don't know what's going to happen, but it's going to be a new start. Whereas Vidar, or the rune Ur, is much more about stepping back, taking your time, doing what needs to be done, even if it's difficult, and doing it in your time. And this is very much how I use the runes, by understanding the mythology and finding wisdom within them that applies to my life or my client's life. So Vidar can definitely be a warning if you're working with the runes, or if you're doing a rune reading, about the need to take your time. The need not to react, but the need to choose when to act. And that's really difficult sometimes. Sometimes in life we make knee-jerk reactions or fear-based actions, or we shout because we feel triggered. And when we're working with this rune, when we're working with the energy of Vidar, it's about like, no, I'm not going to give you an answer now. I'm just going to take my time. I'm going to see, you know, what I decide to do. So there is a feeling with this rune that strength might be needed, that there might be challenging times, that you might need rest, that you might need to get away from the stress to be able to see things more clearly. When I meet Vidar, when I'm doing shamanic work, or when I connect to Vidar on a more sort of, you know, personal level, I always experience him in a grassy meadow. And it tends to be quite high up in the mountains, and it's as if the buzz of the Aesir and the busyness of all their antics is down in the valley, and Vidar has stepped up and away because he needs a bit of peace. On a really personal note, and this, I don't have any evidence to back this up apart from people I've worked with, some of my clients that have a strong association with Vidar are on the autistic spectrum, and that's their diagnosis or their medical diagnosis, not me diagnosing, because that's way out of my pay grade, if you like. And I can see that because they don't process in the same way as perhaps I might do. They need more time to consider. They're the clients that will often ask me to talk more slowly because I tend to get excited, or who might say, can we just take a break? Can we just stop for a minute because I want to think about that? So if you're somebody that likes to take your time to process something, that doesn't like to act quickly, then maybe Vidar is a god that is associated with you. If I was doing a rune reading and I was thinking about keywords, I would think about strength, a considered response, preparation, patience, vengeance, a challenge, and adversity. And for healing, I definitely think about the root chakra. I think about grounding. I think about the need to withdraw to gain a clear perspective of a situation. Often when I'm doing either a tarot or a shamanic healing and I'm connecting with the energy of Vidar, I feel that I'm helping somebody to just kind of vent and clear. Just tell me all the crap. Right, we're going to pack a couple of cards out, tarot cards out. Let's just get that into order. Okay, yeah, we've done that. What's next? And just sort of helping someone to clear their mind, if you like. Shamanically, of course, it's the energy healing or the Megan healing, and very much working with roots and allowing yourself to be still. I mean, how many of us, and I know that I'm guilty of this one as well, don't allow ourselves to be still and to rest. And it's true, the last couple of days, August is always a bit of a slow month for me. People are on holiday, people are busy. And, you know, instead of acknowledging that and working on other things, I allowed my mind to panic a little bit. I pay my rent, I raise my kids on this income. And how strange that now here I am reading through my notes and thinking, yeah, I needed to hear that today. I needed to hear that sometimes it's okay to rest. Sometimes it's okay to pause. And sometimes the wisest thing you can do is to stop for a while. Vidar would also come up, I think, if I was working with somebody who doesn't feel they've been treated fairly and is trying to have a sense of fairness. Perhaps somebody who is working through feelings of revenge. How can I get them back? How can I hurt them? And helping them to reach a point where they are comfortable with what they experienced. And because when we do want to have revenge with somebody who's hurt us, we are entangling ourselves with them. And often the most satisfying form of revenge for somebody who's hurt us is to walk away. It's just, no, I'm done. I am not giving it any more energy. So if somebody was working through that, I think a Vidar energy would definitely come through. He's associated with pine trees, with plantain, with primal forests, and I personally associate him very much with grasslands and prairies, particularly grasslands that are maybe higher up. And you know those kind of grasslands where maybe there's woodland in the distance, or maybe you just feel separate from everything else. You feel like you can hear your own thoughts. To me, that's very much a Vidar type energy. And if I was to chant the rune sound, the ur, to me, I feel it very much in the root chakra. Now, we're all different, okay? The chanting of the rune sounds, and I'm going to be creating a longer audio so that you can get more of a feel for this. And in fact, I've got some already on my website under lead meditations, but I'll be creating some more. It's not about me saying this is the root chakra. It's about me saying my experience with myself and with shamanic clients is that people tend to experience it in the root chakra. But if you experience it differently, well, take that on board as well, because it's our personal experience with the gods blended with the wisdom and the tradition and the mythology that is when the magic really happens. So whenever I do shamanic work, I always sit up. Arguably, sometimes I would stand up, because it's really important. If we look at the rune here, all of the runes of the Younger Futhark have this axis mundi. They have a direct link between the earth and the sky. so that when we are doing shamanic work or energy healing, not when we're receiving necessarily, but when we are taking an active part, we also need to create that axis mundi. So I sit with my feet flat on the floor. It doesn't matter if you're in a flat, it doesn't matter if you're in shoes. It is the fact that they are pointing down. And if I'm doing it in bed, I will bend my knees so my feet are flat on the bed. And my spine is quite upright. And then my crown, the top of my head, is facing the heavens or the sky, or in this case, my bedroom ceiling, which is where my office is. And so what I'm going to do with every in-breath, I'm going to breathe in the energy from the soles, from the roots of my feet, and I'm going to allow the earth energy to rise up. And then I'm going to chant the rune, the rune for Vidar. You may want to, if you want, place your hands on your root chakra, so that when you breathe in from the soles of your feet, you're allowing the earth energy to rise up. And when you breathe out, you're breathing out from the palms of your hands and breathing that energy into your root chakra. Or you might just want to see where you feel it in your body, just focusing on the breath and just tuning in, whatever works best for you. And just taking a deep breath. So if you're interested in the runes, I've improved my website. Still improving. I have a different page for each of the runes in 16 runes in the Younger Futhark. I need to ground myself now, because even though I was working on the root chakra, I find chanting really takes me into an altered state of consciousness very quickly. Too many hours of practice, perhaps. So if you are looking for the keywords, if you're looking for the healing tools, if you're looking for the rune poems, go to rune resources on my website. You'll find them all there. If you enjoyed the chanting, I have a variety of free led meditations on my website, and I am going to be building more. And I'm going to be continuing teaching. I've been doing it for online for 18 months, and I've taken a break, and I'm starting again in September. I'll be teaching each rune month by month. You'll receive emailed notes at the beginning of the month. You'll receive an exclusive audio healing journey, and there will be a community call once a month. This will be a blend of teaching. There will be teaching in there. There may well be a guided meditation. There may well be rune readings and examples of rune readings, but there will also be a chance to ask questions and share your experiences. Because what you need to remember with Norse mythology is it's an oral tradition. It was shared from word to word to word. And so when we talk about it, and when we listen, and when we hear other people's experiences, we learn so much.